My name is Leo. I was 18 years old when I died. I need to say that right at the start because I know how it sounds. When you're 18, you feel like you haven't even really started yet. You're just standing on the edge of everything. You're thinking about college, or moving out, or who you're going to be. You aren't thinking about the end. You definitely aren't expecting the curtain to drop before the first act is even over. But it happened to me. And it happened at a time when everyone else in the world was focused on the clock. It was December 31st, New Year's Eve. I want you to picture the night because it's important. It wasn't some dark, stormy, ominous evening. It was loud. It was full of life. I was at a friend's house in the suburbs of Chicago. The basement was packed. You know that smell, cheap cologne, stale chips, overheating electronics, and that distinct electric buzz of teenagers trying too hard to have the best night of their lives. I was a pretty normal guy. I played varsity soccer. I obsessed over my grades because my dad pushed me. And I had this low-level anxiety running through me constantly. I was always worried about the next step. Where are you applying? What's your major? What are you doing with your life? That night, the pressure felt heavy. Even though it was a party, I remember looking at the TV in the corner of the room. They were doing the countdown coverage from Times Square. I remember feeling this weird knot in my stomach. It wasn't just nerves. It was like a vibration. Like when you stand close to a massive speaker and you can feel the bass in your teeth. I went to the kitchen to get a soda. I wanted to get away from the noise for a second. I poured a cup of ginger ale. I watched the bubbles rise to the top. And that's when the room tilted. It wasn't dizzying. It was absolute. 1 second, I was standing on the linoleum floor in my sneakers, and the next, the floor was rushing up to meet my face. I didn't even have time to put my hands out. I hit the ground hard. I heard the crack of the plastic cup shattering. But here's the thing, I didn't feel the pain. I should have. I hit my head on the corner of the kitchen island on the way down. But the moment my body made contact, I wasn't in it anymore. It was instantaneous. It was like stepping out of a heavy winter coat. I was standing or hovering, I guess about 4 feet away from where I had just fallen. I looked down. I saw a kid lying on the floor. He was wearing my hoodie, the gray one with the logo on the sleeve. He had my jeans on. One of his sneakers was untied. I remember thinking, clearly and calmly, man, that guy looks dead. And then I realized, wait, that's me. The panic should have set in then. But it didn't. That's the first thing people get wrong about dying. They think it's terrifying. The dying part, maybe. The part right after? It was the most peaceful sensation I had ever felt. The anxiety was gone. The worry about college applications, gone. The pressure to be someone, gone. I watched my friend, Sarah, walk into the kitchen. She was laughing at something someone in the other room had said. Then she saw me. I saw her face change. I saw the color drain out of her. She dropped her phone. Leo? She screamed, Leo. She ran over and shook my shoulders. I wanted to tell her, it's okay, Sarah. I'm right here. I'm fine. Actually, I'm better than fine. I tried to reach out and touch her shoulder to comfort her. My hand went right through her. It wasn't like a ghost movie where it's misty. It was just dimensionally different. I was on a frequency she couldn't tune into. Other people rushed in. The music in the basement was cut. The silence that followed was heavy. Someone was shouting for an ambulance. Someone else was trying to find a pulse. He's not breathing. A guy named Mike yelled. He has no pulse. They started CPR. I watched Mike pushing on my chest. I saw my body jerk with the force of it. It looked violent. It looked uncomfortable. But I felt nothing but a deep, expanding lightness. I looked at the clock on the microwave. 11:48 p.m. 12 minutes to midnight. 12 minutes until the new year. And I knew, with absolute certainty, that I wasn't going to make it to 12 o'clock. Not in that body. I started to drift upward. The ceiling of the kitchen dissolved. It didn't break. It just became permeable like smoke. I floated through the roof, up into the cold Illinois night air. I could see the neighborhood. I could see the streetlights glowing orange against the snow. I could see the ambulance turning the corner blocks away, its lights flashing silently. And then, the sky began to change. The stars didn't just twinkle, they started to pull me. The darkness of the night wasn't empty. It was velvety. It felt like a womb. I turned away from the house. I turned away from the drama, the screaming friends, the body that had failed me at 18. I turned toward the vastness, and I let go. The transition wasn't a tunnel. I know everyone talks about the tunnel, and maybe that's how their mind interprets it. But for me, it was an expansion. Imagine you've spent your whole life living in a small, cramped closet. You think that closet is the whole universe. Then, suddenly, the walls fall down, and you realize you're standing in the middle of a boundless field. That's what it felt like. The boundaries of Leo dissolved. I was moving fast, but there was no wind. I was moving through a space that wasn't space, and time that wasn't time. I began to see colors that I can't describe to you. We have a limited spectrum here on Earth. We have red, blue, green. But there, I saw colors that were emotions. I saw a shade of violet that was compassion. I saw gold that was knowledge. And then, I stopped. I was in a place of pure, brilliant light. But it wasn't blinding. It didn't hurt my eyes because I didn't have eyes. I was pure consciousness. And I wasn't alone. I felt a presence. It didn't walk up to me. It didn't have a face. It didn't look like a grandfather or a religious figure. It was simply there. It was everywhere. If I had to put a name to it, I would call it source or home. This presence knew me. It didn't just know my name. It knew every thought I had ever had. It knew the times I was selfish. It knew the times I was kind. It knew the secret fears I kept hidden from my parents. And here is the most shocking part. It didn't judge me. Not even a little bit. I had spent my whole life, short as it was, judging myself. Am I good enough? Am I smart enough? Am I cool enough? This presence looked at me and said, not with words, but with a direct transfer of understanding, you are loved. You have always been loved. You cannot be anything but loved. It was overwhelming. I started to weep, but without tears. I wept from the relief of it. The burden of being a human, of having an ego, of trying to survive. It was all lifted. I was held in this light for what felt like centuries. If you are listening to this right now, and you feel heavy, or lost, or like you've messed up too many times, I need you to hear this. That heaviness is not the truth of who you are. The truth is lighter than you can imagine, and it is waiting for you. The presence began to communicate with me about my life. It showed me a review, but it wasn't a movie screen. It was like reliving moments. I saw myself at 7 years old, sharing my lunch with a kid who didn't have one. I felt the ripple effect of that small act. I felt the other kid's relief. I felt how that moment made him trust people a little more. Then I saw myself at 16, snapping at my mom because I was stressed. I felt her pain. I felt how my words cut her. But I didn't feel shame. I just felt clarity. I understood why I did it, fear, stress, and I understood the consequence. It was just learning. It was all just learning. Then the review stopped. The presence shifted. The atmosphere changed from comforting to important, serious. I felt like I was being prepared for something. The presence directed my attention to the concept of time. Remember, I died on New Year's Eve, the night everyone celebrates the passing of time. The presence asked me, why do you wait? I didn't understand. Wait for what? I thought. Why do you wait for the calendar to turn to decide who you are? It showed me the world below. I saw millions of people watching clocks. I saw them holding their breath, waiting for midnight, hoping that when the ball dropped, their pain would vanish, or their bad habits would disappear, or they would suddenly become the person they wanted to be. I saw the desperation in it, and I saw the truth. Time is a circle. It's not a line. The new year is just a human invention. The presence showed me that every single moment, every breath is a point of entry. You can change your entire trajectory on a Tuesday afternoon in March just as easily as you can at midnight on December 31st. The moment of power is always now. The presence told me. You brought expectations with you. You thought you had time, but you only have the now. I realized then that I had spent my 18 years waiting for my life to really start. I was waiting for college, waiting to be an adult, waiting for the next thing. I had missed so much of the now because I was looking at the next. It broke my heart, not in a sad way, but in a way that cracked me open. I wanted to go back and tell everyone at that party, stop looking at the TV. Look at each other. This is it. This is the magic. But I knew I couldn't. I was dead. I was home. And honestly, I didn't want to leave. I was basking in this knowledge. I felt like I had downloaded the secrets of the universe. I understood that we are all connected, like roots of the same massive tree. I asked the presence, do I have to go back? I expected the answer to be, no, your time is up. But the presence hesitated. It showed me a ripple, a future timeline. It showed me my parents. They were broken, not just sad, destroyed. My death would be a hole they would never climb out of. It would end their marriage. It would darken the lives of my friends. Then it showed me something else. It showed me, but older, maybe 25. I was talking to someone. I was helping someone who was suicidal. I was using this experience, this knowledge I had right now, to save someone else. You have a choice. The presence said, you can stay. You are home. There is no judgment if you stay. But if you return, you will carry this light. It will be heavy. It will be hard. But you will make a difference. I looked at that beautiful golden light. It was so warm. It was perfect peace. Then I looked at the dark, cold, heavy world below. I looked at the timeline of my parents. I saw my mom crying over my unmade bed. I knew I couldn't do that to them. I'll go, I said. But promise me I can come back here. The presence seemed to smile, though it had no mouth. You never really left. You are always here. You just forget when you wear the suit. The suit. That's what it called my body. The moment I made the choice, the peace began to recede. It wasn't taken away, it was just distanced. I felt a pull, like a hook behind my navel. I tried to hold on to the revelation. Don't wait for the year to change. The power is now. We are all one. I repeated it like a mantra. I didn't want to forget. The pull got stronger. I was being dragged backwards. I saw the light getting smaller. I saw the stars rushing past me again. I descended back into the atmosphere. It felt heavy. It felt like diving into wet cement. The density of Earth is almost unbearable when you've been in the light. It's so slow. I saw the roof of the house. I saw the kitchen. I saw my body lying there. It looked pale, bluish. There were paramedics there now. One of them was holding paddles. Clear. Someone shouted. I didn't want to go back in. It looked so small, so tight. But I had made a promise. I aligned with the body. And just as the paramedic hit the button to shock me, I slammed back in pain. That was the first thing. Just pure, white-hot electricity tearing through my chest. It felt like a bomb went off inside my ribs. I gasped. A huge, desperate, ugly suck of air. My eyes flew open. The lights in the kitchen were blindingly bright. We got him. We got a rhythm. Voices were screaming. I couldn't hear them clearly. Everything sounded like it was underwater. My chest burned. My head throbbed where I had hit the counter. I tried to speak. I tried to say, I saw the light. But all that came out was a groan. They loaded me onto a stretcher. The chaos was disorienting. I was freezing cold. That's something people don't tell you. Coming back from the dead leaves you freezing. It's like your soul is a fire, and it takes a while to warm the meat back up. I was in the ICU for 3 days. They determined it was a freak arrhythmia, a rare genetic thing that hadn't been caught. My heart had just stopped. My parents were by my bedside the whole time. They looked aged, terrified. When I finally woke up enough to talk, it was January 2nd. The new year had come and gone while I was in a coma. My mom was holding my hand. Leo, she whispered, you missed New Year's. I looked at her. I looked at the wrinkles around her eyes, the worry lines. I saw her with that double vision. I still had seen her physical face, but also seeing the glowing light of her soul that I had seen on the other side. Mom, I croaked. I didn't miss it. I wanted to tell her everything right then. But I couldn't find the words. How do you explain infinity to someone who is checking a heart monitor? It's been 10 years since that night. I'm 28 now. My life looks very different than I thought it would. I didn't become a big corporate success. I didn't chase the money I thought I wanted. I became a paramedic. Every day, I meet people on the worst days of their lives. And sometimes when someone is slipping away, I lean in close and I whisper to them, don't be afraid. It's beautiful. You're just going home. I see the peace wash over them. But the biggest change wasn't my job. It was how I treat time. I don't make New Year's resolutions anymore. I don't wait for Mondays to start a diet or birthdays to call a friend. I learned that the moment the year changes is a myth. The calendar is a tool, not a master. The only moment that matters, the only moment where God, or the source, or love actually exists is right now. This breath. If you are listening to this, and you are waiting for a sign, or a date, or a permission slip to change your life, stop waiting. You don't need a near-death experience to wake up. You just need to realize that you are already in the middle of a miracle. You are the light, you are the love, and you don't have to die to find it. You just have to be here, fully, now. That's what I brought back, and I brought it back for you.